Even Hansen is a flop. I said it last weekend. I said it before the movie came out. No one's gonna watch this movie. It is gonna make very little money, and I was correct. This movie had like a 40 to 50 million. This movie has a pretty big budget of like $30 million, and this is the wig for Deal Even Henson. Okay, I know people. I think this would be a war. This is probably pretty scary. The movie, the box office for the last couple of weeks, because of course, people always expect to see big bubble blockbusters, and they can't release those every week. Okay, it's the same problem with 2019's box office and 2018's box office, and so on and so on. Movies need to have their recognition to do well, or have a director that is recognized by people, or an actor, even. For example, Free Guy made money because even though despite it being a new IP, Wild Rail's name alone sold the movie. So actors can still sell movies. Odin's movie blog, where it continues to tell people that Black Widow is a big fat massive flop, and told his audience that Shang-Chi was a massive flop. But Dear Evan Hansen is one of the biggest flops of the year. And the funny thing is, they're comparing this to Cats. Yep. Is even doing what's doing. Okay, that's not the wrong Cats movie. Why are you guys comparing it to the? I think people are clicking on the wrong Cats movie. Yeah, this movie is doing worse than freaking Cats. That's how pathetic Dear Evan Hansen is. Okay, the critics didn't care for Dear Evan Hansen, and the audiences don't care for it. The movie is now doing worse than Cats, one of the worst movies of all time. That's how badly Dear Evan Hansen is doing. Meanwhile, Venom is breaking records, and Ash is doing basically the same as the first movie. And Many Saints of Newark is just doing like a typical wire action movie that we haven't seen 100 times before. Okay, and they'll make, oh yeah, what about The Greatest Showman? The Greatest Showman only opened to 8 million. The Greatest, it's not gonna. I told you it's not gonna go as Greatest Showman. I said the same thing of In the Heights. In the Heights is not could pull Greatest Showman, but that movie did pretty horribly as well. In the Heights barely outsold Cats domestically. Okay, and In the Heights again, the international boxers is another. In the Heights is another movie that kind of needed the international box office, but nobody really, because in the international box office, musicals are pretty popular now, and especially with that's a movie about Latin American communities and stuff. You would think it would have made money in Mexico, but again, In the Heights flopped in Mexico, and it bombed in Mexico, and nobody cared about it because yeah, it actually flopped in Mexico. It made only $152,000. So, it shows that people, even in Mexico, is what this movie's about. It's about, Hispanics. Even they hate the movie. Even they hate In the Heights. That's how that's how bad In the Heights is. When the country you're advertising to doesn't want to see your movie and is sick of this garbage like this, okay? In the Heights. People are sick of it. The critics called it a masterpiece, of course, because diversity. 10 out of 10, best movie ever. Okay, it's just funny that Mexico hated In the Heights. I said, oh, it might do well in Mexico, it might do well in Brazil, it might do well in Peru, because Latin America is very diverse. Very, very, very diverse countries in the world. Colombia might do well in there, might do well in Argentina. Latin America might do well in, but then nobody watched In the Heights. I think that In the Heights is a part of a new thing. People are sick of musicals. People don't want to see them anymore. And that's why people are tuning out of musicals. Again, many older audiences are still scared of going to the theaters because they might get the COVID, even though they should get the vaccine instead of, listening to some random, hillbilly online telling you, oh, you get microchip in your body if you get it, or something stupid like that. Okay, something retarded that they'll probably say, but this is just showing that musicals, I think, are dying. Cats obviously left a sour taste in people's mouths so badly that people just don't want to watch musicals, because usually musicals have very good legs. But ever since Cats came out, No. And was this made by Disney? No, nobody wants to see them. Nobody wants to see musicals. And I think musicals could be going the way of westerns. Westerns are not very popular anymore. They're not. Westerns typically lose money, but they still make them because they know there's still a small audience for them. For example, Cry Monsters didn't really make that much money, but again, westerns are not what they used to be. They're not the biggest genre. And people are saying, "Oh yeah, the superhero movies are on the way out." Then why are Venom making so much money? Why is Venom making so much money? Why did Shang-Chi make so much money? And yes, even Black Widow, which is something that the fandom mass will never admit and accept, made money. Yep, Black Widow made money too. On Disney Plus and merchandising, of course. And Shang-Chi probably will make money through Disney Plus and merchandising outside the overall amount of $60 million it made from feeders. So, it's just... And the movie and Shang-Chi is doing really well. It made $201 million and 166 international millions. Worldwide box office, 368 million. Okay. I hope when the movie comes on Blu-ray, there is actually copies still remaining, because in Black Widow, there was only like one Blu-ray left, and that was like the only choice. It could get the 4K, of course, but there were plenty of those. But, Black Widow is currently at 337 million, so even if it didn't release on Disney Plus, that would still only be a negative 20 million, negative 23 million, which is on par with movies like Mortal Kombat, which Mortal Kombat is another movie that made money through HBO Max. And it's funny how they didn't call that movie a flop. It didn't, and we all know the fandom mass's agenda against this movie. It is a completely stupid and dumb agenda. I didn't think the movie was worth spending $200 million on. I think you could have spent $200 million on something much more bigger than this Black Widow movie. Okay, even I bet most of that money was, being paid to keep Scarlett Hansen in this movie. I bet like half of the budget for Black Widow was to keep her in the movie. Because if you watch Black Widow, it's an extremely big budget movie. It's like you would probably compare it to a movie like Deadpool 2 or Venom Let There Be Carnage, a much more smaller budget movie. But yeah, there we go. About this, Stephen Hansen. No surprise, is a flop. Dropped 70% Friday weekend. Dropped 70% Friday weekend. And that's how badly Stephen Hansen is performing at the box office. I said this movie would flop again and again and again, and I was correct. Stephen Hansen would flop. The movie would completely fail, and everybody would forget about it. And the thing is, unlike Booksmart, which is a movie that the critics won't stop about how much of a masterpiece it is, yeah, 78%. Yep. One of the biggest flops of the year, Stephen Hansen, can go right up there with Space Jam: A New Legacy, and of course, Snake Eyes and other movies that, summer movies that bombed big. Again, there's usually always a couple of movies that come out in the summer that bomb big, but none of them were as big as Snake Eyes. Jungle Cruise, of course, which, for some reason, according to Disney, it apparently made money, but, it's only made, if we use Disney Plus, there's still $190 million loss, which, for some reason, they're making a sequel to this. This movie is worthy of getting a sequel, which is odd. But yeah, that's basically about the sale, but goodbye.